Today, we are talking about Turbocharger Tactics by Grabinsky and Oleksienko. And these books are a long-awaited follow-up from Perfect Your Chess, which was written in the early 2000s by Grabinsky and Volokitin. Now, we should first discuss why Perfect Your Chess had such a great resonance amongst the Grandmaster community. Because there's all kinds of books out there, and that's the one book that I hear from grandmasters. Oh, that was the book that really got me. And what's interesting is it's not about the words. There's nothing in that book or these ones where there's explaining something deep that's really important and amazing. The words aren't it. It's the problems themselves. So then you ask yourself, okay, well, there's all kinds of problems. There's endgame studies, mate and twos. There's those chess.com puzzles that are created by the computer. What makes these so different? And so the first thing that's really important to see is they are of a different quality. And there's so many different tactics books out there, many of them great, but these volumes, which follow on Perfect Your Chess, I feel like has the same quality that Perfect Your Chess does. And that is that every problem will stretch the way you see the game. Okay? And what I mean by that is it's not just taking you through some familiar pattern. It's going to stretch your notions of what chess is about. And it's going to be very difficult. So the first caveat that needs to be put out there is this book is simply not for everyone. This book is really for IMs and IMs who want to become grandmasters. This kind of book is what Gukesh and the Indian kids are probably doing all the time. If I was their trainer, I would be setting these positions up for them and probably having them do it again and again, right? So let me just say that it's very difficult to do that, to do what they've done. And that is they had to go through, in both books, Perfect Your Chess and this one, they had to go through thousands of examples and really only choose those that the eye of Grabinsky, in particular this Ukrainian trainer, saw as something interesting and magical about the problem. That's what makes these books great. Okay, so the first thing I want to say is very difficult. They're not for everybody. Okay, so for example, this one, number one, I took 27 and a half hours doing it. I logged it on the dojo. And then the second volume took 39 and a half for me. Some of them very difficult. I definitely had problems where I spent over an hour trying to figure it out. Okay. So something I just want to put out there is a general problem that we've seen in the dojo where we are looking for tactical material for all kinds of different levels is there really is an overload of problems for players who are, let's say, 2200 and above. And my philosophy, my theory on this rather, is that it's grandmasters themselves who are creating these books. And they're trying to show something special that they know about the game. And that's great for me. I think that's a beautiful thing. But for the players, between 1400 and 2200, there's just less books of problems that address that kind of audience. And I think you could say that for chess literature in general. It's aimed for a higher audience than the average player, which is ridiculous, of course, right? Nevertheless, I'm very thankful for these books for my own selfish purposes. Okay. So I want to say that every problem is picked by Grabinsky's eye, this Ukrainian trainer, and every problem is in a way going to push you to some kind of new insight into what chess is about. Every problem is a kind of chess poem. That is not the case in other kinds of problems, right? Other problems are great, but they're not chess poems, both in terms of strategy and just basic calculation and tactics. That's what sets this problem set apart. And I want to stress, it has nothing to do with the words in the book. The words in the book, also the first book, Perfect Your Chess, didn't do anything for me. Nothing special, right? It's not like somebody's going to come in and explain deep chess truths to you. No, just setting up these chess poems for you to look at and stretch your imagination. When I think about the opportunity maybe of someday training somebody like a Gukesh, these are the kind of problems I'm just like, here, boss, here, let's go. Boom, 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 again and again and again. And I'd probably have them do the books more than once. I did Perfect Your Chess more than once. Fantastic for me. And I'm going to do these books again as well. We've already added the first Turbocharger Tactics to the program. And now that I've done the second one, I'm going to lobby our crew here to put number 2 in as well. Okay, so what I thought I would do is just show one problem. I don't want to show too much because I don't want to give anything away. But I think I can explain a lot of what the book's about and maybe a small niggling problem I have with all tactics books with this one example. So let's take a look. This is Botvinnik Smyslov, a position from their match, I think it's game 9, 1957. And something that our authors did is in volume 2, they're just going to do world champions and world championship candidates. Kind of nice, you can compare yourselves against those players, and maybe stealing from Woodpecker. Woodpecker does a similar thing where it takes games, positions from world championship games. Okay, so here is a problem, one of the many, where I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what to do here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the answer. I looked at so many different moves here. I did not find this move. Okay, so here we go. Rook d6, snip, snop. We are down a rook. Okay, we're down a rook. Rook a8, e7, rook f e8. And here the book gives queen c4. Now let's just state some obvious stuff. White is down a rook. Okay, and there's actually no immediately obvious win to human eyes. And one of the key things to understand, I want to just point out with this example, is it's different than, let's say, chess.com puzzles, where in my experience, those are always going to end with somebody like losing a piece or getting mated. Here will often end with positions where a GM can say, yeah, that's toast. They're done, positionally done, right? Or the attack is just going to be overwhelming. And this is one of those cases where the computer agrees, right? But hilariously, the computer is like, this position is so dominant for white that he could play king g2 or something and it's still winning. But of course, from a human perspective, you're going to sack a rook. You want something a little bit more than that, right? So for example, I found my way to this position, but I didn't feel necessarily convinced. The book gives, Turbocharger Tactics, that is, gives queen c4. And to me, I still wanted to go deeper. They just kind of ended here, and I wanted to go deeper. And one of the things, now here's my little complaint, and this pertains to basically all tactics books that are created today, is they will often not look at variations because the machine doesn't look at them. So what I think is very important is the problem creator must look at the position from a human point of view and be like, okay, what is the human move and how do I figure it out from there, right? So for example, to me, it would be g5, trying to bust out a little bit. And I'll just give you an example here, queen e4. It's already, honestly, it's pretty hectic because we are saying that queen g6, queen here is winning. And on king g7 or king h8, the computer just wants to play rook f1. And just as an example, gh check, and if knight e5, we'll play rook f5, I believe. And also, if he goes, let's say king h8, rook f1, gh, also rook f5 here. And, we're going to, if queen g6, rook f8, pretty involved, right? And so one of the things that I want to stress that I really like about this kind of problem is we'll end This one, maybe you could say we're just winning and it's easy. It wasn't easy for me, but we'll end in many positions where it's just like this is the only way forward, and you have to then evaluate the ending position, right? It's not easy, but that's what chess is. It's not always going to be ending, especially at high level chess. It's not going to be ending with someone always ending with someone losing a piece or something. It's going to be ending with an evaluation of the position where you'd be like, yeah, dude's toast, or I have a clear advantage, right? And this is the best I can get. And that's really my experience, what real good chess is. I just played the US Senior Open after having read these books. I really think it helps me because it's going to dial me into a system, level 2 system thinking, right? Deep thinking, where I'm trained already to not make the superficial move and to really try to sink into the position. So beyond just teaching me something, it's giving me the discipline to be like, okay, buddy. Okay, buddy. We can't just make the sloppy move. We have to go really deep because there's going to be some counterplay from our opponent, and we are going to have to really drill down, sink into the position. Very helpful on a practical level. But I want to stress, one of the reasons all the GMs are saying, oh, Perfect Your Chess, what a beautiful book, is because there's a kind of ennobling spirit that happens when you see something beautiful on the chessboard. Why do we keep playing chess? Because we experience these beautiful things, these chess poems, and these chess poems aren't just beautiful, but they stretch us in our ability to play the game. Finally, I want to say, at some point on the podcast, we're going to do a list of hardest books, hardest chess books. This one's going to be up there. Okay, just so you know, this one and Perfect Your Chess are definitely up there. But if you're up there, 2200 plus, this is definitely a book that you should get.